Okay, bro.
Oh, I'm happy I didn't have to step into that. We are to go. We are.
I try to tell you that I just don't want to do these podcasts after long leg workouts, and you just throw it right back in my face.
Welcome back to Two Guys One Bike. The friendship debate today is why the hell do we do podcasts after assault bike workouts? And Marcin needs to tame his intensity so he can be calm and collective, while I need my passion and emotion. And you take it away.
You seem emotional enough right now.
No, man. It's not the same.
What would be the difference?
We have to be scientists. I couldn't tell you until I know
Wait,
what it's like to do it without the workouts. Once I have that experience, I can tell you.
That's fair. I just like that endorphin release. I feel nice, calm, tranquil, like a nice calm stream right now. Like I can articulate what I want to say.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. How do
Is
you
that
feel?
what you want to hear?
How do you feel?
I feel like reflecting on our strategic route of purposefully cutting off our video last time to really catch the audience and not having our phone die 47 minutes into a 60 minutes. We had 13 minutes left. We left off. You dropped the mic with the passionate foxhole.
The foxhole. Did we talk about where we get that terminology?
Yes, we did mention how it kind of termed from David Goggins, not necessarily that David Goggins is the essence of Foxhole, but he is
That's
somebody.
just what he calls it.
Yeah, after reading his first and second books and really reflecting how it kind of really manifested, I don't know, the energy of what this has been. Not necessarily the same intensity, the same views and lifestyles, but we got the dog that he woke up out of us, and that's what kind of pushed us to be, like we said, better men, better husband, better fitness, better life goals, and brought us here today. Like we were saying before, reflections. I think a nice, what we should kind of cover today is a little bit revolving around the foxholes, and then a little bit revolving around accountability of time frames.
I just got so nervous that I wasn't recording. I got so nervous.
You're safe with me.
Thank you.
And then
like a warm blanket.
I think finally just kind of maybe going over some small little encounters of how we've kind of grown together about our individualities through experiences. Like I think after we kind of foxholes and time is gonna tail into a beautiful breakdown of the first day that we decided to sit down and go over this podcast.
Yeah.
Because both reflected very strongly on that. But if we kind of want to get into it, I think it kind of starts off with accountability of time. And how do you feel when your objective is you have to be somewhere at 9 p.m.? What is on time to you?
8:50.
8:50. Now, my grandfather, on time is 10 minutes early. Late is on time. So if I got there at 9, that's late.
Correct.
8:50 is on time, and I get that.
Yeah.
So now, my question to you is, does it hold energy on you when somebody else shows up at 9 when it's still an accountable time to be there?
No.
Like, does it hold energy on you?
No.
Does
if
not
you
hold
show
energy.
up on time
Okay.
to what you said the time, if you tell me you're going to be somewhere at 8:30 and you show up at 8:30, I'm okay.
Okay, what about 9?
I want to be there at 8:20.
100%.
The reason being, for me personally, well, I would make the general statement that time is the most valuable resource on the planet. When I say I'm going to be somewhere at a certain time, all right, now what I have said is influencing someone else's time. Okay, so if that person gets there on time and now they're waiting for me, I am wasting the most precious resource they have is their time. And every minute that I decide to show up late is a minute where I'm telling them that my time is more valuable than their time. So imagine if every minute you were late to a meeting with me, you had to give me $100 bill.
But what if I'm on time 9 out of 10 times?
it's still going to be how many minutes are you late?
So let's say I'm on time. 8:50.
Yes.
I'm at 8:50. Now,
Yes.
1 out of 10, I show up at 9:05.
Okay. Is that an honest assessment, 1 out of 10?
Well, we've had different kind of situations
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
where it's hard because it's like, do you want to be judged off your one mistake or do you want to be reflected off of all of your successes? But then if you're reflecting on all of your successes, it's kind of like you're also being, I don't know, good job, buddy. Well, if you're kind of being acknowledged on your one failure.
Showing up on time is not a success.
100%. It's a responsibility.
Yes. It is a...
So what about the people who always say there's creativity in some of those people? Let's say like some of the greatest artists, some of the greatest like Picassos or all these other like writers, book writers, they're really bad on time.
Am I writing a book?
100%, but are you every single book writer?
No.
Does everyone live your life?
But am I on time?
100%.
Yeah. So
But
here's the thing.
Have you published a book?
Not yet? No. So
So some of the most successful book
Yes.
writers are some people that are bad with time.
Mm-hmm. Does that excuse the fact that they're still wasting people's time?
No.
I don't
But
care
what
if you're a
I'm
good
saying
writer.
is, does it make them less of a person? Does it make it like, I want to, what I find is, I don't think you're wrong.
Yeah.
And I think the best part about our friendship is, what I always try to look at is both sides of the coin.
Right.
I have to see both sides
Right.
to understand, because that's where I can be my greatest stoic.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have the understanding. And I think what I drive for is for you to finally say, you know what, I get that.
Well, I do get it. Culturally, time is a fluid concept. If I go to Spain and somebody tells me they're going to show up at a certain time, I know that it's going to be much later because their sense of time, I forget the word for it, so I'm not going to just make up a word, but it's way more fluid. It's more of a general idea. That's when I'm going to show up. I just don't agree because no matter what your sense of time is, it's still limited. Okay? You know, on your death certificate, it doesn't say he or she died kind of around this time. It says he or she died at 9:50 in the morning because that is the time you died. It's not, well, it was a little more fluid. It's just that's the perception of time in that area. But if we break it down, time, no matter where you are in the world, is still, you know, an hour is still an hour, a minute is still a minute, a second is still a second. Your perception of it might change, but that's still the concept. Things live, things die. You only have a certain amount of time. So if somebody tells you they're going to be somewhere, and now when they said that, hey, I'm going to be there at 8:30. Okay, so I know that before I go to that meeting at 8:30, I also want to get my writing done. I want to get a workout in. I want to do all these things. I am now planning my day off of the fact that I want to respect the fact that you're going to be somewhere at 8:30. So therefore, I have to adjust all of my behaviors and habits to make sure that I am not disrespecting you by showing up late. Because when I show up late and you're waiting for me, I've now wasted your time.
So what is it? So as we're sitting here and you're describing it,
Yeah,
and you're getting more excited,
very excited.
more potent. So it's just like, I just look at situations too where it's like, I can feel how much it holds on you. It seems like a heavy weight, the intensity, the passion, but it's also a passionate guy. So
Right.
I can't say it's holding weight on you because you're just being descriptive. So it's like we had a little breakfast, the boys and the gals, and we're biking up, and I'm in this situation, this predicament where I see my wonderful, creative, awesome, little ADHD
So many
wife,
positive words, wife.
where it's just like her and one of my other best friends, Ryan's. It's just they bring so much different beauty and love to so many different situations, and one of my lack of strengths, not weaknesses, lack of strengths, is finding the patience and finding the mental strength to be at some points. If I rush her too much, yes, could she start stuff 20 minutes earlier? 100%. But I can see how much it psychologically weighs on her. So I've learned to not put almost that pain on her because she feels as if she doesn't want to fail me. And so she rushes because she wants to live to my expectations. And I don't necessarily want her. I want to find a beautiful different ground of not holding her to an expectation of being on time, because I was also raised like that. And I always like to be on time. I always like to be early. That's who I am. I'd rather sit there early. She's like, why are we going to be there early and have everyone like come? Because I like to welcome people. She goes, why can't everyone kind of settle in and then we kind of get there? I'm like, I don't work that same. So we try to find a healthy middle. So when we're on our way to breakfast, we're biking up. Mm-hmm. We hit a long night, but as she's getting ready, I look at the clock and it's like, I know it's a 4.5 minute bike ride. I know it right to the dot. Like I break everything down.
Right.
And I see her, and it was like 3 minutes to when we were supposed to get there, 3.5. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna show up like a minute and a half late. I can fight Marcin on this. I can psychologically battle on and justify myself.
Uh-huh.
And we get there, and we had this stoplight, and I'm like looking at her. I'm like, oh no. I go up, I'm like pressing the walk. We're like biking. I'm like, we gotta get going. I'm like, this light it was almost like life purposely doing it. It's like, no. Let him sit there. Let you sit here.
Yeah.
Let you find the ground of, you gave your time to your wife to be who she needed to be. She also respected you and moved faster than she usually does. Mm-hmm. We got there, and then suddenly out of nowhere, we're gonna be there pretty much on time, but then life goes, no. So then life decided to give me a moment where I had no choice. I had to sit at the light.
But you didn't plan for the light.
Mm-hmm.
You gave yourself the exact amount of time if everything goes perfectly.
100% to respect her space and to respect mine and to respect yours. I'm looking at everyone. I'm trying to give everyone.
But you're not respecting my space. You're respecting your wife's space.
I was trying to...
If you were trying to respect my space, you would have left early.
My wife.
Yeah, is the most important thing to you.
But as well as I was timing it to be there on time. 100%. You're right. So like, what if I'm getting there? Should I be checking the train every single day? Or should I understand that a train that I have to cross every single day, it's going to take up to 20 minutes, mm-hmm. has stopped and been there 25. Mm-hmm. So for me to respect your space, do I need to check the train system every single day because of my location and where I live to make sure that if I decide to leave 15 minutes before to get to your house, mm-hmm. but today it's going to be at 25 minutes, I'm going to be 10 minutes late, is that on me or is that life?
That's on you.
It's on me.
Yeah. Why do you think I show up so early to work?
100%.
I leave 30 to 35 minutes early when it's a 5-minute drive in case something happens. Mm-hmm. That's one valuable lesson my mom taught me. I leave 2 to 3 hours early for the airport mm-hmm. in case something happens mm-hmm. because I'm respecting the time. Now, here's where I agree with you. So, just to give a little leeway here. I understand this is strict. Okay, I understand that this is extreme. Mm-hmm. And I also understand that everyone is their own person. Mm. It's when your decision affects somebody else mm-hmm. that it becomes a problem.
When it affects you?
Yes, when your decision. So, Megan, Ryan, they're much more free-spirited.
100%.
Much more, way less stringent on, okay, we said we're going to be there at this time, we have to be there at this time.
Was it Katy Perry? Like a
okay.
plastic bag yep. through the
yes.
wind, wanting to start again.
Yes. So, for them, together, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. But I highly value my time mm-hmm. because I've wasted so much of it. And that's what bothers me the most. So now, if somebody else is wasting my time, I know it's not on purpose. It's not on purpose. But this is the same conversation I had with Shelby when she and I first got together. Constantly late. And I had to look at her and tell her, you are deliberately wasting my time. Mm-hmm. And that is disrespectful to me. And if you can't respect me, then how are we ever going to be together?
And I think that's why when I see it is that the desire to do that is the love I have for you mm-hmm. is to want to make sure that I see how much it frustrates you.
Yeah.
And what I think I'm trying to find is I'm trying not to let that energy be put on you, yeah. but I'm also asking if I'm participating on not having it be put on you, yeah. I'm also asking you to participate that when it happens to be like 90 out of 100 times,
yeah,
it's good.
Yeah. This
10 out of 100, you know what? He made it here safe. You know what? Something didn't happen. You know what? He doesn't usually do this. And it's like that, it's that the desire to want to satisfy your needs is also the desire that I want to be satisfied back of. You know what? He's good. He's always there. And you know what? Today, life.
So, to address that, mm-hmm. there is a back door into I'm going to alleviate Marston's intensity. Mm-hmm. Hey, I messed up. We left late.
Acknowledgement.
Totally my bad. it's my fault.
Mm-hmm.
I will do better.
I don't even want to say do better.
Hurt. Why?
Because
when you are showing up late and you know how it affects me as your friend,
mm-hmm.
what are you choosing to do? You're choosing to leave late. You're choosing to say, hey, my wife needed some time, so F your time. That's what it says to me.
But why is it insecure to think that I said F your time? Because that's not my intentions.
No, it's not your intention.
Why is the intention created in your mind like that?
If you were speeding and you hit somebody and took their life, it's not your intention that you killed somebody.
To reach your expectation to get there on time?
No.
But
I'm just saying in general.
I should have left earlier.
I'm just saying in general. If intentions mean nothing, it's what happened. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Intention is a leaf in the wind.
Mm-hmm.
It's what took place.
Mm-hmm.
If you really wanted to be there on time, if it was a business meeting,
mm-hmm.
and it would have cost you $1 million
mm-hmm.
to be late, you would be on time.
Yes.
Right. But because
You
it's
were
your
my
friend, it's less important. See, to me, it's as important as a business meeting. That's the difference. You're like, well, I'd show up to my job on time, so I'm less important than your job.
And it's the beauty of your intensity. It's the beauty of your personality. It's the beauty of your drive. It's the beauty that makes you successful. And that's why I love it.
Yeah. See, for me, I'm showing up on time for you no matter what.
100%.
Doesn't matter if it's a business or not.
So like if my emotions, you see how much I give to so many people, right?
Yeah.
So my social battery is like through the roof. Now I need reboot times.
Keep going,
I
please.
love this. I need reboot times where I come home.
Yeah.
I look at Megan and I said, I can't talk to you. I can't talk to anyone. I need to sit down and watch anime.
Right.
And I understand. So I think sometimes being the person who likes to hold himself, to kind of be the dad, to kind of be this great energy, I look at my equals and I kind of be like, I feel safe to not be perfect with you because I try to be perfect with everyone else. But then it's like my equals saying, but I still need you to be perfect. So I'm like, clock back in.
Are you ready?
You're so intense and I love it.
So you're telling me that because you give so much energy to people that aren't even your top 5 group of friends or your foxhole, that you can't give the energy you need to the people that are closest to you?
Wrap it back.
So if we go back to the foxhole and you are the sum of the 5 people that you hang out with the most, you're the type of person that you're a battery, but you plug into everybody. And then you come to me and be like, hey man, sorry, I just gave so much energy to somebody I see once a week. So I can't, I was late. And I'm over here like, why are you giving your energy to somebody that doesn't matter?
Because I have the unhealthy habit of thinking I better myself through bettering others, but at the end, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't help me. Yeah, whatever. Next time.
Well, but I also want to clarify, because you are a direct compliment to me. So somebody can hear me say that person doesn't matter and be like, damn, that's harsh. Everybody matters. And I'm not going to disagree with that. I don't have the energy to give to everybody. That's something I had to teach myself. It's draining. I'm also introverted. I don't build my battery back up by being around people. You like to be around people, and then every once in a while, you need your space.
I run.
I need my space always.
And then once in a while,
I give it to people, and then I have to choose who I'm giving that energy to. So I have to be so even though I can be very social and I work as a bartender and a server, when I don't want to stay and give my energy. That's why I leave so fast, because I need to recharge, right? And because the people that are closest to me get so much energy, so that's why I'm always isolated. But that doesn't mean that it's the right path. That's why being with you has kind of branched me back out again into like, okay, you know what, like this is the person I'm going to talk to. I want to give my energy to this person. If this person has questions or concerns, like if I feel that people generally want to talk about something that's meaningful to me, I will talk to them. But I'm never going to the bar because it's a waste of energy. I'm never going out and doing certain things that I just feel are a waste of energy. Whereas for you specifically, you thrive as that sun that is giving everybody the photosynthesis they need to grow. But then you're over here like, well, oh man, now I don't have the energy to grow. So for you specifically, that's where I feel like the 5 close friends and the foxhole is more of an important conversation because you give so much out. Whereas I'm the opposite. I hold so much in and then I'm like, all right, you can have some.
I'm still gonna win this debate. I'm still gonna break you.
This isn't a debate. This is a difference. This is a difference in philosophy.
No, it's just I'm so competitive, and your intensity is poetic, and I love it. Because what I love about you is you're so stationary, you're so grounded, and I feel as if like I'm trying to like bring a little bit of that hippie into you. And what I love is that you are so statued and like you justify it and you go back and you say, I get this.
Yeah.
But I want more. I want more more of this. But you do, and it's good because that makes me go. You hold your ground so strong where I go, damn, maybe I should stop giving it.
Sorry.
No. That's kind of it.
I was gonna say you say I'm stationary, but this is the longest I've ever lived in one place.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of the reason I don't have many.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've always lived someplace else. I lived in Bethany, Connecticut, and until I graduated from 6th grade, where I then went off into boarding school, and then I lived in New York, and then I lived in Ohio, and then I lived in Miami, and then I lived in Alaska, and then I went back to, I went to Ohio, Alaska, Miami, back to Ohio, then I moved to Colorado, and then in between all those places, I was living in different countries. So I'm only grounded in what I think. But then I'm in a constant pursuit to find different ways of thinking, which is part of the reason I love debates. You know,
But we're not debating.
Right. Good point. Touche. As part of I like to challenge my way of thinking, but I also like to. I want to be challenged, but I will bite back.
Mm-hmm. Well, we challenge ourselves very well. We had a situation with one of our buddies. Well, 3 of us were working out, and I was in a rut. And when I get angry, I get frustrated. I illuminate it. And one of the other buddies was kind of just like, you said something to me. You're like, how'd you say it again? You're like,
I told you to cut it out. And then I said, get over here and give me a hug.
Told me to cut it out.
We're not here. We're not here to work out in silence.
And our buddy was just like, you don't do that. And it was like, Jacob's looking for the friend to do that. Jacob needs that because Jacob's always the guy. I'm always the guy who is that for everyone else. But when I find frustration, I understand it's intense. But I need that person I need my equals. I need my equal to be like, nope, come here. So cool moment. Side note. What I want to get to, so foxholes, everything. Okay, so the concept of timing, on time, foxholes, connections. I wish I could go back on our text messages to 2 months ago when we sat down thinking about the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I had late night and a morning where I needed to give my time to my wife and my dog. And you know what? I chose to go on a little longer walk. It was in a situation where we just haven't had a lot of time together, and it was the first day of us starting our podcast. I was going to get there at 9, and on the drive there, I was just like, I decided to take prioritizing time for my dog and my wife to go on a walk, and I showed up I think it was 9 minutes late, 8 minutes late, and the text message was on the way. It was just so funny. It was like, I'm sorry, I decided to prioritize the time for this and that. It's not my normal track record. You know that I'm always on time today. And it was just like, you can say all that.
Yeah.
But it's showing what kind of partner this is going to be. If on day one, it's like this. So we're kind of doing some texts where it's kind of very broad and everything. And I walk up to the garage and you're smiling right there. And I stood at you. I said, okay, let's do it. Let's hash it right here, right now. You're like, nah, there's nothing to hash out. I go, Marston, come here. And we stood and we looked eye to eye, and I was just like, say it. And you're like, you got to be on time. I'm just like, 100%, but I also got priorities outside of here. I was like, you can have those, but you have to have the responsibility to give me to be on time. And we were going back and forth, and it was a really good, woo-saw moment. Very you're right. I need that. I need to be there. I need to be more responsible. And it's just like, you need to take this serious, Jacob. And I'm like, I'm going to take this serious. but I also like my family's my number one. Yeah. So it was me growing to the responsibility of making sure, okay, go to bed earlier, wake up, give that time to your wife, give that time to your dog, and then be on time. Oh, it's a 15-minute drive, leave 20 minutes early minimum. Get there 5 minutes early. Oh, maybe even leave, don't even prioritize 9 minutes to stop. Maybe do your warm-ups 15 minutes, leave 30 minutes early. So I had that tendency and I started making that. Same day, I learned the responsibility to be on time to give this what it deserves, while your wonderful wife came in and was talking about how there's yard work to be done. Mm-hmm. And somebody in your foxhole and somebody in my foxhole both need us in different situations. And as we were going to the back, you were showing me the tub that we were going to maybe do some ice baths. And she was like, yeah, Marcia, can you take those blocks over here and put it down in the the garden area? And you're like, no, sorry, this is I'm here with my business partner. This is our time. She goes, you're going to help with your garden. And I looked at you, and you looked at me, and I go,
I do remember that. Yep.
So, foxholes.
Yeah.
So, we stood there, and I looked at you, and I said, it's okay for us to take this time. And we took that time. Mm-hmm. We helped. We put it down. We laid it. And it was a good moment of both of us having... We had to find the strength of respecting what this is for us and the people outside. We have different foxholes. All of us are in the same one, the priorities. They're the most important people to us. Mm-hmm. You go first. Elaborate from there.
In that situation, I think Shelby was in the wrong.
Hurt.
I understand that relationships are all about sacrifice, and I'm glad that you were willing to help me move that. Mm-hmm. We could have moved it when we were done. But Shelby wanted to do it right then and there. Mm-hmm. And you know how wives can be, and Shelby is a beautiful, passionate woman, very similar to you actually.
Very similar, two pieces of butt.
Yeah, very similar to you, and she wanted to get it done in that moment, and I made the call. Okay, let's do this, and it was a great moment for you to be like, see, listen, like you have to make sacrifices, and you have to make sure that the other side of the relationship is happy as well. And yeah, in that moment, it was a great touche, you know. I see where you're coming from. Things come up. We have to get this done. Now, what I will say about that, and it's a tough balance, that was completely unplanned and a monkey wrench thrown into...
It needed to happen so bad.
You know what I mean? It just...
Life gave us the best moment.
It was all of a sudden, hey, move these rocks. Mm-hmm. And we're over here saying, oh, we're about to work. Marston, move these rocks. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'll move the rocks. In that moment, though, if I were to talk to Shelby later, I would say, hey, babe, I love you. And I'm more than happy to do any sort of physical labor, yard work that you need. Mm-hmm. Would it be possible if maybe next time you either get up earlier, get out of bed, and have me move the rocks earlier, all right, or plan ahead of time and ask me to move the rocks in the morning, or... know that Jacob and I are about to do something and then wait for us to do it, because in the moment Shelby prioritized what she wanted done in that moment over everything, and her morning schedule was the same. She stayed in bed, got up, did her thing, and then went out, and she was like, oh, I need these rocks moved. Perfect. Marcia and Jacob were right outside, and in her head she's like, nope, it takes 5 minutes, just move the rocks. What are you talking about? Why is this even an argument? Which is understandable. For me though, somebody who's like, but I'm doing something, I'm over here looking at her saying, can't you just wait, or can't you just get up earlier? And then her argument is, can't you just move the damn rocks? Why is this even a conversation? And that's where the whole debate comes into play.
And what I love about that situation was my 7 to 8 minutes showing up late to give the time to my wife, my foxhole, took the same amount of 7 to 8 minutes for us to move the 10 blocks.
Yeah.
Heavy cement blocks.
Like 100-pound cement blocks.
And took the same amount of time. So it was kind of like it was a beautiful moment where I look at it as we had this equal ground of like, okay, now it goes into when you have people in your foxhole who have the same responsibilities and the same love and strive. Our wives want to support us in this, and we also have to get back to them. So now if we are creating the structure of responsibility, we get together at 9 a.m. We kind of work out to like 10:15, 10:30. We get that time, and then after that, we kind of talk about some podcast stuff till around 11. Podcast days, we probably go until around 11:45 noon. We looked at it as clocking in. Mm-hmm. We looked at it as this is something of a responsibility that we want to own. Mm-hmm. And from there, people in our foxhole who wants to see us be successful, mm-hmm. support us, and also kind of see the shine of the brightness of what we're shining. Mm-hmm. Then they want to be like, you know what? I do want to wake up earlier with you. I do want that time. I do want to put some stuff into the our yard. Like Megan and I, like we've been waking up at 7 a.m. Mm-hmm. And this has still been new to us. We've been doing this for like a month now, but it's beautiful watching the people that give the same energy, that have the same goals and the same views and the same responsibilities, are also growing in this as well. This has been very growing for us, and my mornings with my wife have been so much more beautiful. Mm-hmm. Not that it wasn't before, but it was just like so much like I'm okay to go to bed at 1:32. I'm okay to wake up at 9 a.m. roll out of bed, and then she has to kind of get to work, give a kiss, and it was okay. Now we're just waking up, and it's just we have enough time to wake up. We can go for morning walks together. It's not just roommate conversations. Mm-hmm. How's your day? What does your day look like? It's what is our plans for the weekend? What is your opinion on this? What are some new goals that we're striving for this year? Where's your mental health been? How has your diet been? Like all these beautiful, more raw conversations because of the responsibility that we're putting on each other, being in each other's foxholes. Mm-hmm. And it's great for us as well, like the growth that we've been doing, and yeah, man, having purpose and also giving the time to the people when they deserve it. It's been a hell of a ride. I'm excited to see what 6 more months looks like with our relationships, between our friendships, our wives, other people around us, people who weaving off of what we want to be. Mm-hmm. I'm excited, and I don't want to say it like shed, like I'm not trying to shed the skin of friends, but I'm excited to shed the weight that I'm distributing outwardly to others, like you said, and give it more potently to the people who are on my track and on my page.
How do you differ between a friend and an acquaintance?
That's what you said to me. I got coworkers and then I got friends.
And a coworker. Like what's the difference? Because
I'm in the middle of learning.
Okay.
I'm growing because, like we said before, especially being so in the same place, like you've ventured off and met so many people. You've had those fast interactions. You've had the people where you made deep conversations and they decided to keep communication with you.
Right.
Otherwise, for me, it's just like I've been in the same place. And what is a friend? What is a customer who's been coming to your bar for 6 years and just drinking? Are they really your friend? Do you go out and about?
Right.
Like, what is a coworker that you just go afterwards and grab a drink with? Or, oh, let's all go out to the beach and like drink. It sounds fun and it's good and everything, but I'm realizing more the value of what people put into me instead of the value I put into others.
Right.
And that's where I'm trying to differ on acquaintance, friends, coworkers, and foxhole.
Because I'll tell you what.
Tell me what.
The moment Ryan became my friend, and not just a coworker and somebody I like to see at work.
I love this story.
Was when he came over. Mm-hmm. Shelby made us food, and we sat at our kitchen table, our kitchen counter. We both did a small dose of mushrooms and sobbed into each other's arms about his story. And when I really learned how Ryan became who Ryan is, that's when I was like, I am friends with this person. I've learned to care about this person. Not that I don't care about people. When I show up to work, I give everybody the time of day. I smile. I laugh. You're looking good. I love that on you. I don't know you. I just see you here. And it's not supposed to be an insult. I just don't know you. So how are we friends? You don't know me. You might know some background stories. You might talk to Jacob a little bit and learn some things. You might listen to this podcast and be like, whoa, I didn't know that about Marston. And that doesn't mean I'm not willing to get to know. But when does somebody cross the line between an acquaintance, a coworker, and a friend?
And that's what I love is I didn't understand it until I moved. Like I lived in one state, one town forever. I mean, besides going to North Dakota State University to learn how to drink and drop out in a semester.
Yeah.
But moving out here, finding Ryan, Owen, and you. In that order, it was beautiful because Ryan was best friends with my wife. And when I heard about my wife talking about her new coworker Ryan, I was like, okay, Ryan.
Ryan. And you met him.
then I set him up on a blind date with one of my other guy friends.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, these guys. Now we're all best friends. Mihao, love Mihao. But and then I met Owen, and I didn't understand how much living in a new state and making new connections were, and how they became in my foxhole until I met you, where your dialogue is, people don't become my friends unless they unless I gain something from them, and not in a selfish way. It's gaining a better mental strength. It's gaining. Ryan and I, what I gain from Ryan is a more spiritual and emotional connection that I've been missing from other friendships. He is a grounded, wonderful hippie, and him and I have bloomed in our spiritual connections and spiritual views, and that's what I gained from him. And then Owen, he's someone who started wanting to. Was trained for his Golden Gloves, and he wanted to get back into like full weight training instead of just boxing at the gym. And so he kind of lit that fire to me. I gained getting the fire back into health and fitness, and then he also taught me how to actually have fashion and style, and and then have hard, beautiful psychological conversations. And I learned I gained that, but I didn't know I gained all this from him until our conversation of, what do you gain? Otherwise, they're acquaintances. They're people going through the process, and they're people that you're just giving your energy to, but you're not giving it back. Like we said, if I'm full bar and they're right here and I'm giving it to them and they're going up, what if we're just both giving at the same time and growing together?
That's a relationship.
That's a relationship. And that's what I learned from our friendship, and I reflect back, I go, wow, it's really made me think about all the people who I've met in Fort Collins, Colorado, that have actually really helped me become a better man, a better human. And those are my friends, those are my foxholes. Yeah, educated. So there's my answer.
Well, it's tough because when you say somebody that you gain something from, it can be easily misconstrued, like you said, into like a very selfish kind of mindset. But I think it comes from, I've been in relationships before where neither person is giving to the other, and it just becomes very separate. But something that's kind of a different line of thought. But I guess where I was going with this was a great test of a friendship. And I feel like there's very different levels to friends.
Mm-hmm.
Is, can you sit in a room in silence together and just enjoy something? Who is somebody that could come over? Let's just say you come over and we're just hanging out, we're watching anime in silence for hours. Can you do that with somebody? And if you can't, if you get that anxiety, like that feeling where you have to say something, well, something has to be said because this is awkward. That person really isn't your friend.
Who's the first person you think of?
The first person I think of is Shelby. When you first came over and we watched that zombie movie together, that was one of the first times you and I really sat in a room and watched something together. And Ryan, you just recently and I hate to say passed the test, but Ryan just recently did this where he came over, got pizza, and we watched.
Not Fort Collins.
At Fort Collins. Not Fort Collins.
Who is somebody? Because when you said that, I had the most beautiful memory and emotion. I'm going to share mine after. But does anyone just resonate to you? Does anyone just kind of like a breath of fresh air where you can reflect and be like, damn, like I was able to heal in a room of silence with this person, and I was graced with that friendship?
They're different. Just because I moved around so much.
That's what I was saying.
It's different categories. There's different groups at the time. When I was little, I was big into hockey. Nickelarios were my go-to friends. They were my hockey brothers, especially Eric in the beginning because I knew him more. Shout out to Nickelarios. Hope you guys are doing well. But then Mark and I got closer because we all went to school together and we all got close. And then we would all be together. Adam Platt, all these people that were on my hockey team, those were my friends because those were the people I spent the most time with outside of home. But before even that was Bo and Xander, my other cousin who was pretty much my brother. He lived with me. He was, Bo and Xander were kind of my go-to just rocks. But I moved away from Bo, so I would come back to Bo. So that's a different conversation. And then I went to boarding school, and I got my first kind of best friends there. It was Eddie Locks and Mickey Mittemeyer. Those were my rocks at boarding school. And then you go to college, and then I met different people in college. And at the time, I had people like Rex Carlo and Brandon Morans. We had a falling out, but they were my best friends at the time there. Justin Lodano, different people now that I lived in college. But then after college, and then what was even crazier is I would go on these trips to different countries living on boats, and I would make these very deep connections. You're living with these people in very close quarters for 2 weeks to a month. You learn everything about these people because you're forced to live with them, and they become your rocks in that moment. And it feels close, but then you drift apart because you're going someplace else, they're going someplace else. So finally I arrive here. And then for the longest time,
you can finally put the anchor down. You can finally settle in.
Yeah. And of course, I had an ex-wife as well. So I was with Kristen Nagy for the longest time, 7 years, and that's a different conversation. But she was a rock for
another
a while.
Day, yeah.
And then I met Shelby, and once I met Shelby, it was different. It was a whole different. And I don't want to make it sound like there was something wrong with another person. It just I had never. And this is like we could go down a rabbit hole of all sorts of emotions, but the way I feel with Shelby was something I had never experienced. You ever have a high school love or a high school relationship where you almost feel like nothing's ever going to beat it? Like it just like holds this place in your head, even though it was this toxic thing.
Do you even say like sitting here right now?
Well, I think back in high school, I was, like I've told you before, I was pretty much obsessed with this girl. Her name was Louise Still Norton. It was like a dangerous love obsession. And I was like, oh, of course we're going to be together forever. It's high school.
That's what I'm saying. I can remember the emotions and the potency just as the same of, I remember how caffeine hit me for the first time at a young age. When you taste things for the first time, it's like addictions.
Right.
And it's just like, I think the potency when I look back at it was just, it was so huge and big and held such a big room, like you're saying, because it was the first time of experiencing it. That's how I look at it. Where I go, I'm so proud of where that person is today.
Yeah.
And I love their mom, their dad, their younger brother, and if they ever ask me to be there or be there in a heartbeat, I'll look at my wife and I'd be like, this is somebody who's looking out for me, and if they need me, I'll be there. But I could never see myself being with them for a long run. But I do think that the potency of the time that it took out of my life, or I gave my life to for that 3 years, it was something I can never express. Right.
So when I first met Shelby, she didn't know who I was. I just met her, and I just saw how she carried her. She didn't even see me at the time. I just saw her and how she carried herself around the people she's around, and she's always just been this authentic version of herself. And I just felt this immediate connection that just was a tsunami over any sort of past feeling that I always thought was the pinnacle. And for the first time in my whole life, that whole pedestal, that pinnacle that was just residing in this dark cesspit of emotion in my mind that I didn't even realize was was gone. And it was just this instant connection, but I hadn't even talked to her. There was just something where I don't necessarily know how to explain it. I am not a religious person. Mushrooms have made me a little bit more spiritual, but I just felt an instant energy connection to this person, and since then it's only deepened. And it's like Shelby is just a part of me. I cannot be me without Shelby. Shelby and I have just become one, even though we're so vastly different, kind of similar to how you and I complement each other.
It's foxhole things.
Yes. It's also like two halves of a coin.
Mm-hmm.
One side is very focused on this, and the other side is focused on this, but together you create an entity.
Mm-hmm.
And that, to me, was what was magical.
Mm.
And then Shelby became my rock. So going back to that, it wasn't until, it was really just Shelby and I until Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
And it was still Shelby and I. And then I met Cordell.
Mm-hmm.
And Cordell's a good friend of mine, but he
Mm-hmm.
moved a little farther away. But then I met you, and the way you interacted with me I didn't feel like a mentor.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel like somebody was always just going to be looking up asking for advice.
Mm-mm. Equals.
That's
what I was looking for.
You know, and that, and it goes, and it flows both ways, which is
Mm-hmm.
really nice. When I need advice about something that you are good at, you're the resource. And then when you are doing something that I excel at and you're struggling with,
Mm-hmm.
I can be a resource.
You have the strength to tell it to me.
Right. That in itself is the relationship.
Mm-hmm. I want to back up to when you were describing a person that you can sit in a room with.
Yeah.
So I have so many friends that I can do this with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can name off, like, not so many where it's like I spread it so equally. I'm saying I have such deep connections being in one state for so long that I've rooted them so beautifully deep. And I have 10 people I can name off, but the one person I also want to back up because my siblings are one of the most important things in this world. And I would die for them, they died for me, I'd be there for any way they need, they'd be there anyway for me. And it's a unique relationship because of how much older they are. Brother was going to college, he was like 17 when I was born and everything, so by the time I was like 5, 6, psychologically able to really retain a lot more memories and everything. My sister Ashley was mostly around, and then she went to college, and it was all beautiful. So what I'm saying is, my siblings are everything to me, but we had different age gaps. So a lot of my connections I can sit in a room with and not say anything are the people around my age who watched me go through all my hardship. And the one person who comes to mind that I want to bring up is also a person that all the other people I'm not saying right now will be like, that's justifiable. Nico Parker. Nico is somebody who shares the same hardship in a different way, in a similar way that I do. The same depression, and the same, he's the man as well. I feel like the man, he's the man. And growing up, it was always, I felt like I was the man of the dad and kind of responsible energy, and then when I look at him, he's just a breath of fresh air, man. I used to go to his house and show up, doors unlocked, walk in there, just head nod. Sit there for like 2 hours, man. Watch anime, listen to music. I just wanted to be in a space where I didn't have to think and be anything or anyone or responsible for anything. And we grew off of just being around each other's energy. And Nico Parker is one of the most amazing human beings I've ever met in my entire life. He was at the wedding. He was in the purple polo with the glasses. I don't know. There was a couple of beautiful moments at my wedding too, where there was a couple of words being said that reflected memories and connections of him and I, and it'd be this sea of people. And out of nowhere, I'd be at the head table. I'd just be staring at him, and he'd go. And I can get into that relationship one more day, but it was just the way that you spoke about being able in a connection with somebody to just sit in a room of silence. It's not just a comfort of sitting in a room of silence with him. It is the protection that you feel. It is the growth that you find in silence with him. He's just one of the most amazing humans in this entire world. Yeah, good guy. But yeah, man, reflecting kind of everything we kind of talked about. I think it was how we view our foxholes and the importance of what it is to us. I think we kind of really came across and kind of shared where when we have the mindset of who we want in it, the benefits that it brings us, the healing factors, the growing factors, to feel equal, to feel supported when it's hard for you to ask for support. The power of time.
My lady time.
Yeah, but anything you want to reflect? Conclusions?
I would say my one concluding statement is just the spectrum of relationships. I don't want it to sound necessarily so cut and dry of like foxhole acquaintances, coworkers. I think it goes a lot deeper than that. Right, because you're becoming more than a friend. Right, I've never had brothers. I'm an only child, so my brothers were always people that really got to know me, and that in itself, something I always talk to Shelby about is how a lot of people are like, oh, blood, they're my blood, so they're most important. Well, for people whose blood isn't that great, or traumatic experiences, or weren't that supportive, or were never in their life, that really doesn't make much sense.
Trauma was passed to you.
You know, so for me, it's really, your family is what you choose, who you choose. Yes.
Family.
I also never have had biological brothers or sisters, so I can't relate to that. All I can relate to are the people closest to me and who I can consider family. You know, so that's a little different. It's also there's I feel like a difference between foxhole and the 5 people you spend the most time with, you know, because if you listen to a lot of motivational kind of self-development books or just speeches, there's be careful who is around you, because you are the sum of its parts.
You feel the energy.
You know, you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Those could be friends who you consider great friends, but are actually really toxic people. And that's the danger of that 5 rule. You know, you could have some really good friends, and you can be like, man, this is my sister, this is my brother, but really deep down, they're dragging you down. But then if you think about it in your foxhole, and you're now all of a sudden you're applying a lens or a different perspective to the people around you, somebody can still be your good friend. You're just going to have to, or myself, or anybody, not just talking to you, you have to decide, you are my friend and I care about you. And I enjoy spending time with you, just like I enjoy eating candy. But what I get from you isn't the direction that I'm heading in. It's not the push I'm going in. So now I have to create a barrier. You know, if I'm really good friends with somebody who all they really want to do is go to the bar and drink, I have to lay down a line and say, look, you're really fun to hang out with. You make me laugh. I enjoy your company, but this is the direction I'm heading in. And I have to prioritize the people in my life that are going to push me in this direction, or are going to support me in this endeavor, or who are going to make me better at this. Here are my weaknesses. These people turn those into strengths. That doesn't mean I can't hang out with you. That does not mean we're no longer friends. But this person, after spending time with them, makes me better. After spending time with you, I have a hangover. Where am I going to put my time? Right back in the time prioritization. So it's a tough balance, because I never want anybody listening to be like, wow, well, you're just saying that my time isn't valuable. And my only question is, well, how valuable is your time?
Well, I also look at it where you're valuing yourself.
Yes.
And if they have, harshly to say, the insecurity to create the mindset that they're not valued, they're saying that.
Yeah.
There's so many people in the world. And that's why if you can hold who you are and what your views are and have the vulnerability to listen to the people who you trust in your foxhole, you'll be the best version of yourself.
Mm. So.
Yeah. Connections. Beautiful.
You just want strong ones.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the essence of this is we just want to better ourselves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I just want to thank anybody that's been listening.
Yeah.
Jacob and I really enjoyed doing this.
I hope.
Yeah.
I hope that video is recording when we go up there.
Oh, I think it is.
I think it is.
It's been plugged in.
But friends, 2 guys, 1 bike. We're elevating every single day. I just want to keep acknowledging it this way. The worst thing that can come out of this is 2 friends just getting closer. And what this is us just finding a fun little hobby and hoping that you could hop on the bandwagon with us and grow with us. And if you find some success in what we say and how we're trying to live our lives, don't be afraid to reach out to us and share some of your experiences. We'd love to reflect stories on how you've bettered yourself through watching us better each other as well. But
I also never thought I'd say this, but please do us a favor and like and subscribe.
that was good. 2 guys, 1 bike.